Boker Tov. It's wonderful to be with you this morning. I'm Rabbi Shaner, and I'm really excited to share this opportunity to connect, to reflect, and to remember together. As we do every morning on this stream, we will begin with a simple prayer of gratitude for just being here. And so I'll share with you in just a second, just a moment, the prayer for our bodies and our spirits so that we can begin this day with a sense of shared gratitude. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher yatzar et ha'adam bechokma uvaravo nekavim nekavim chalulim chalulim. גלוי וידוע לפני כיסא כבודך, שיהיה פתח אחד מהם, או יסתם אחד מהם, אי אפשר להתקיים ולעמוד לפניך. ברוך אתה אדוני, רופא כל בשר ומפליא לעשות. Eternal God, creator of the universe, you have fashioned our bodies with wisdom, creating within us a finely balanced network. To stand before you in prayer is itself a fragile miracle. Eternal God, we praise you as the healer of body and spirit. We have these two pieces of ourselves, our body and our spirit, and when we combine them, we find that actually what we have is something like an identity, something like a self, something unique that is not like anyone else, and yet is connected to something much larger than itself. And so we begin our morning with blessings which say, I'm grateful to be who I am. I'm grateful to have not just any self, but this particular self. Blessings which remind us that we are human beings, that we are embodied, and that we are Jewish. And so we'll begin with these first 5 of the morning blessings, which will continue with the other parts of this section of the service tomorrow and the next day. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan nasech v'bina lehavchin ben yom uvein laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sha'asani b'tzalmenu kidmutenu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sha'asani ben chorin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sha'asani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sha'asali kol tzoraki. We bless God for giving us the natural wisdom to distinguish from day and night. We thank God as the creator of the universe, who created us in the divine image and who gave us free will, who made us Jewish, who made us the children of Israel, and who have helped to provide for all of our needs. And having expressed our gratitude for all of those things, we turn now to the act of stretching our imaginations, our intellect, and our hearts with words of Torah. And so we begin with a blessing for the study of Torah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Ve'ha'arevna Adonai Eloheinu et divrei Toratcha b'finu v'fi amcha beit Yisrael ונהיה אנחנו וצאצאינו וצאצאי עמך בית ישראל כולנו יודעי שמך ולומדי תורתך לשמה. ברוך אתה אדוני המלמד תורה לעמו ישראל. Blessed eternal God, creator of the universe, you sanctify our lives with mitzvot and command us to engage in Torah study. Eternal our God, may your words of Torah be sweet to us. Let every generation, young and old, the whole family of Israel, come to know you through the study of Torah for its own sake. Eternal God, we praise you as the teacher of Torah to the people of Israel. Having reminded ourselves that these words of Torah are sacred, we turn toward them to remind ourselves that we are connected to something much larger than ourselves, to a single point which connects everything in the universe, that God is one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם, ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Having recited these words of Shema, which remind us that we are one and that God is one, we turn now to words of Torah from our senior rabbi, Rabbi Dolgan, who has prepared a message to share with us, with the community.
Again on Monday, as we turn our thoughts and take a few moments to our parashah for our Torah portion of the week. This week we actually have a double parashah, parashiot Matot Umaseh, Matot and Maseh, that join actually this year because of the vagaries of the Jewish calendar. They realign the diaspora and Israeli reading calendars. And so hopefully this can be a week that brings our whole people together. The Torah portion, Matot and Maseh, are the last two parashiot in the book of Bamidbar. They actually have a special significance for me, not my bar mitzvah portion. My bar mitzvah portion was Parashat Noach, was the story of Noah. And yet, as a teenager, the next portion that I read from Torah, the first time I read, not because I was expected to, because of my bar mitzvah, but because it was something that I was taking on for myself, came from this week's portion. And it was as we draw near to the end of the book of Bamidbar, the book of Numbers, where the people are getting ready to go into the land. And part of the people find that, in fact, they think it might be better for them to stay outside the land. I could describe it for you, but we can see the verses here ourselves. That in chapter 32, we find that Israelites from the tribe of Gad and Reuven are people who raise animals, raise cattle. And so they say here in verse 5, it would be a favor to us, they continue, if this land were given to your servants as a holding, do not move us across the Jordan. So think about that. It's understandable that Moses is upset, as you can see, and responds to them, are your brothers to go to war while you stay here? Why will you turn the minds of the Israelites from crossing into the land that the Eternal has given them. This is what your fathers did, and goes back and tells the story of the spies. So that here we are at the end of the 40 years in the wilderness, only a little more than a month or so. Getting close to the last months of time in the wilderness. We don't exactly know when this would have fit into the chronology of Torah, but we know we're near the end of the story. And here, just like at the beginning, some of them didn't want to go. Now some of them don't want to go. And Moses says, how could you look at it this way? Now, I can understand why Moses would respond this way. At the same time, it's unfair to expect people to ignore their own needs, to ignore what it is that they themselves desire or require. And so here we have eventually the response of Bnei Gad Bnei Reuven, those Israelites from the tribes of Gad and Reuben. Vayigshu elav, they approached him and said, we will build here sheepfolds for our flock and towns for our children, and we will hasten as shock troops, which means they will go forward in the van of the Israelites until we have established them in their home, while our children stay in the fortified towns because the inhabitants of the land. We will not return to our homes until every one of the Israelites is in possession of his fortune, of his portion. But we will not have a share with them in the territory beyond the Jordan, for we have received our share on the east side of the Jordan. So I really appreciate the translation that's used here. Vayigash, which is a name of a Torah portion in Genesis as well, means to approach generally, but the commentaries there talk at length about what it means to approach. And here, when they approach and they say, okay, we will be on this side of the Jordan, but we know that our people need to go into the land. And so we will not only accompany them, we will go in the lead. We will take the risk. We will share in the necessary, difficult aspects of acquiring the land. But then we will return to this part that is good for us. So it's not just that these Israelites approached Moses, they stepped up. And I think really this particular story reminds us that there are so many ways to do that. That what it is was required of us in life is not that we should sacrifice ourselves. Wow, not that we should say my needs don't matter. Each of us has needs that deserve our attention. And to be part of a community, to be part of a people, even to be part of a family while we are addressing our own needs. We need to show that those are not our only concern or our primary concern by stepping up, by showing that in order to have our needs met, we will go far beyond our needs and consider the needs and desires of others. At the time when I read Torah for the first time since my bar mitzvah, I didn't make a connection between the two. But as much as we look at some of these things as being physical or day-to-day concerns that we need to step up for, which we do, in addition to that, it also is about stepping up for our tradition and for our people in symbolic ways. The number of people, and we're about to start to make recordings of those for the high holidays as well, the number of people who step up each year and chant Torah for our congregation so that our high holiday tefillot, our high holiday prayers, which are going to be safe and online and very different this year than they have been in the past, but also going to have a lot more options than they have in the past. These are possible because our members step up for the community. So many different ways to do so. And so as we reflect on these particular words, as we're aware, as it gets to the end of the book of Bamidbar, and as we soon enter into the days before Tisha B'Av, and our reflections on the challenges of our past, we have to say, in order to see that the future is one of blessing for us individually, for our families, for our local or worldwide community and our world as a whole, we have to be aware of our needs, and at the same time, we have to say to ourselves, what can I do to step up? Where is the right place? None of us can do everything that we might even think we should do at once. But what is the right and real place for us to approach, for us to draw near to the people around us, and for us to step up and really make a difference in the lives of those around us? I hope these words that come toward the end of the book of Bamidbar can help us find new ways to bring meaning into each of our days.
Just as we take Rabbi Dolgan's message to heart about balancing our own needs with the needs of others, we take a moment now to remember our responsibility to have hope for those who are ill, who are isolated, and who are working hard on the front lines to keep the rest of us safe and healthy. And so as we draw those people into our hearts with our own, we offer these words of blessing and healing from our tradition. מי שבירך אבותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, ואמותינו שרה, רבקה, לאה ורחל, הוא ירפא את כל מכותינו. ויהי רצון מלפניך, אדוני אלוהינו, להחלימם ולרפאותם, וישלח לנו מהרה רפואה שלמה, ועטרת שלום, ותגן עלינו ממחלה רעה, ונאמר, Amen. May the one who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and our mothers, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, heal all who suffer. And may it be God's will to provide healing and strength, to reveal to us the holiness of life and the wholeness of shalom, and to guard us from all illness, as we say together, Amen. We also offer a thought now to those who went before us and showed us how to live, and helped us become the people who we are. We think of those connected to our community and part of our community who have died in recent days and weeks. And this morning, we keep in mind Reuben Devlin, Gerald Goldstein, David Garber, Zeno Werb, Robert Filler, Rose Rich, and Alan Fridson, as well as those who died at this time in years past. Harry Ennis, Faye Frank, Marshall Friley, Fanny Goodman, Edith Nicken, Toby Orleans, Dorothy Shapiro, Toby Schechter, Gail Simon, Shirley Steinberg, Jay Tax, and Alan Winnick. Zichronam livracha. May their memories always be a blessing, as we share together in words sanctified by memory, words glorified by hope, the words of the Kaddish Yatom. יתגדל ויתקדש שמך רבה, בעלמא דברך יראותה, וימליך מלכותה, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קרב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמך רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמך דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה, ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort to all who remember, as we say together, amen. Well, it's been wonderful to share this time together with you this morning, to connect and reflect and to begin our week with gratitude. And I look forward to seeing you every day this week at 8:30, and invite you also to join us for a special program, an adult studies program tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. with Carrie Swartz, our Director of Congregational Learning, and myself, where we will be talking about the Netflix series Fauda and the lessons that we might draw for our Jewish lives from television programs like that. And so I hope you have a chance to get out there today and make it great, and that you will be blessed with health and safety wherever you go. Boker Tov.